Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much again for joining me here. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Happy Tuesday to you. We're going to take a look here at Solana, see what's going on. Expecting Bitcoin to reach its all-time high or retest that range at the very least here soon. That could spell further upside for Solana. Just know that when Solana pulls back, it's pulling back pretty aggressively, but that makes sense considering how Bitcoin dominance dropped. A lot of altcoins are kind of pulling back here today, so it's that natural rinse and repeat. We're kind of in that down cycle. Generally a good day to consider dollar cost averaging into coins, altcoins specifically, but again, taking leverage trades on altcoins right now to the upside, not necessarily the best call. Either way, Bitcoin's looking pretty solid, maintaining its support range. I think we're in pretty good shape to see further upside. That's just my anticipation. So heads up on that. That should work out favorably for Solana. Keep in mind this ABC pattern here too is only if we don't continue to establish higher highs. That's the thing about Elliott wave. People need to understand it's not a reliable indicator at all, or tool, whatever, a theory more so. And I'm mentioning that just because I have this here as a potential. It's common for coins to ABC on the way down once you find your top. The problem is it's hard to identify the top until the A and B pattern have established themselves. So either way, this is just premature. Don't read into that too much. I'm not saying that we're going to see 220 for Solana. If we do, fantastic. That'd be an awesome place to add to your position. Between now and then, we got to presume the price will continue higher because we're still respecting this ascending trend. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at some backend data here for Solana and see what's going on. Double check some important stuff here for us. So first things first with liquidation, there is a chunk of liquidation on the upside here between 240 and 250. I need to increase that. That is very small, just so you can see that. 248 to 250, right there in that range, there's a chunk of liquidation, maybe 1 to 2 billion. Okay, that's on the smaller time frame. We look at the larger time frame, we can kind of see here, it's you got to zoom in a bit, but this is about basically a 1, 2.5, 3, maybe about 3 billion liquidation between here and 250. Maybe round up, say 3 billion, if you will, at about 250 or higher. Okay, so just keep in mind that's definitely a thing here, and absolutely something to be mindful of. So let's go ahead and just save that there. And what we're going to do is look at the liquidation delta here, kind of see we are at about 1.5 to 2 billion in liquidation delta. So that's a bit on the overextended side, but it's not crazy outrageous. It's starting to taper off. So that little sell-off here recently actually allows for Solana to continue higher because of that. So good news is when liquidation delta starts to taper off, you'll usually see the price increase from there. Or obviously there's the inverse where the price can continue lower, but we don't have contributing factors in the back end that show that or reflect that that's going to happen yet. So there is that. We want to presume that the trend will continue until it doesn't. We can see a lot of support here at 238 to 237.50, basically to say 237 or 238. A lot of support there. Most people are adding to their position in this range locally. Okay. Prior to that, of course, we got 220 to 215. That's a secondary support level if we do end up losing the current area or the current range at about 237. So this 0.236 fib level is holding strong. We got some strength here at this 0.618 fib level, but generally speaking, a lot of support in this lower range. So good news is if you take a long now, the price pulls back, it should be able to recover pending Bitcoin doesn't make a run towards 90,000 or lower. Keep in mind, Bitcoin loses 90,000. I think we're going to have a really bad day for altcoins. So make sure that you have some stop losses in place just to be on the safe side. Don't let it ride till your liquidation level. That doesn't make any sense at all. That's a very terrible call. Just because, again, we got weird stuff going on in the world. Heaven forbid something like this were to happen. Let's see here. I posted this here. I thought it was kind of funny. 100,000 Bitcoin, super close, right? But again, if there is a missile strike of any sort, some kind of fundamental or more so political catalyst, then we could really see something else. I don't buy into all that stuff. I don't dig deep. I just thought that was funny. I thought I'd share it with you. But the truth is, anything can happen. So just be prepared for that. All right. That's why you want to protect your investment, adjust your stop losses higher as you get into profit, and for the love of God, secure profits when you get the chance. Always do that if you can. Okay, so we got a point of control here at about 220. Again, price pulls back, solid support. 220 just seems like a very logical consideration for a long, even in the blind, which I rarely say. But just based on how much we have as a support there for Solana in that range, it would make sense for us to balance if we come back there. Either way, the daily time frame, there's no need to get into it. Everything is truly bullish. There's no other way around it. Okay, we take a look here. We can kind of recognize too, and let's go ahead and just remove this ABC just for the sake of the conversation and see that this wasn't too far off. The price did pull back to its local high, or sorry, local low rather, and essentially pivoted off of that level. So looking pretty good here. Still due to continue higher, I would say, pending Bitcoin doesn't make an obnoxious move to the downside, because this 4-hour candle is pretty red for Solana, where Bitcoin's is pretty green. So that gives you an indication that most altcoins are selling off today, specifically higher value altcoins, a lot of large market cap coins too. Okay. Anyways, pretty much all of them are doing poorly, if you exclude Dogecoin, Render, and a couple of other small little outliers. Okay, anyways, we're not here for that. Finishing Solana here on the 4-hour, we can recognize that we're above all moving averages. This ascending trend's running concurrent with the 20-day moving average, the SMA. That's really important to stay above that, okay? So that's why I'm not super concerned with the price action pulling back, because we're still above some of those supporting factors. Same thing here as well. We're over 50 on the RSI, stochastic swinging down, money flow index pulling back. It's very normal for an aggressive candle like we just saw. However, I do see MACD here diverging, and generally speaking, when you see a divergence on the MACD, the price will continue a bit lower. So just know, like the last time we diverged here, this is what happened for the price action for Solana. And then let's see if we can find another one just to give you an example. We saw a divergence here, right here, and the price went up. So see, that's not exactly foolproof. So another reason why you don't just base your trades solely on one indicator, right? So again, for the most part, while that's diverging and it's statistically likely to see further downside because of that, everything else is mostly pointing up. So again, one indicator that may be considered to be a reliable indicator that is contrary to everything else is essentially not a good idea to consider trading that direction, right? Same thing goes with patterns, right? If you see this here, oh, we got a double top pattern, we're going to short. While you can find success with that, and that's true, going into a resistance range, we're still respecting this ascending trend, so until that breaks, we don't want to take a short position into it. It just doesn't make a ton of sense. But again, the pairing and the correlation between Solana and Bitcoin is important to recognize too, or any coin versus Bitcoin. So I like to zoom into the 15 just before we take a look at the hourly. This is what's going on here. So we take a look here. We can see essentially establishing higher highs, or more so parallel highs with higher lows. We look at Bitcoin, it's establishing higher highs with higher lows, okay? So a bit on the funky side. I really do not like this price action. I mean, look at how jagged this is. It's like a dang, the Swiss Alps or whatever. It's just nonsense. But when you look at Solana, it's a little more consistent. It has a tendency of hitting its overextended state and pulling back or continuing higher. So a lot of times you can pay attention to overextensions with Solana and find some decent success here. So we take a look here. We can see 9 plus 1, 2, 3, 4. So this basically it overextended about 5 hours into that, and we're down to a 3 right now. So hypothetically, we could see another 5 or 6 hours to the downside. Again, a lot of that hinges on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin breaks free from this 92.5 range, starts to run, I think Solana is going to follow. Okay, so what does all that mean? I know I threw a lot of information out at you. Well, if we look at the hourly time frame here, we're still above the cloud. That's still mostly a confirming factor. Lagging span, while it's not free and clear, we have good momentum with the conversion line being above the baseline. So this is 2 out of 3 reasons on the hourly time frame to keep your long position open. I wouldn't necessarily consider taking a long just based on how the price action looks. That's me personally. I don't like taking longs at what feels like the top. You got to recognize too here that we have a significant top at 260. It's just a round number. I'm rounding up it a little bit. I think 259 and some change was his all-time high. So when you hit those all-time highs, the price action rejecting, the likelihood of rejection of the first reattempt at an all-time high is extremely large. It's like a 90% probability. Granted, 53% of statistics are made up on the spot, but you know what I'm saying. You get the gist there. We're probably going to see some rejection there too. So if you're going to take a long, you're going to get greedy, secure profits somewhere in this range before the price action hits 260. Okay, that's just what you're supposed to do from a professional trading standpoint. Okay. And again, I've been doing this daily for quite a few years, over 20 years now, in traditional and crypto markets. So these are just normal standard things that you want to look for. But me personally, taking a long right now doesn't make a ton of sense. I would wait for Bitcoin to establish a direction, or more importantly, establish itself above its resistance at this point. We're not seeing that just yet from Bitcoin, even though it's looking very bullish. So, okay, that makes sense, I hope. If not, I'm sorry. Feel free to watch other videos. You'll get the gist of how I trade. And if you want to become a better trader, obviously you can join our Trading Academy community or signals group. I've got trade alerts for Pioneer members and, of course, trade signals for others. But we'll share those results later. At this point, I think just the important thing is to focus on, finding good opportunities. And right now, I think Solana is getting closer to its initial top, and I do think a correction should take place pending Bitcoin doesn't crank past 94K. But again, to me, being patient is just all about finding good opportunities. I miss a ton, right? So if you want to FOMO in right now, be my guest. I hope it works out well for you. There's just not a ton of meat left on this bone. Again, in other words, make sure you secure profits somewhere in this range here, right? 250 to 260, you should definitely be able to walk away if we get to that level, and then wait for the price to kind of figure itself out. We'll cover this consistently between now and then. Don't worry about it, but that's just the general advice for the moment. So that's where we're at here. What are your thoughts? Why don't you comment below? Let me know. If you want to hit the like button, deeply appreciate that. Helps get this in front of more people and perhaps saves people from getting destroyed by those moon boys out there, right? No offense to them, but they just really don't know much at all. Anyways, I hope you learned something. Thanks again so much for your time. Oh, very last thing here too. I get the question all the time. Yes, it's never too late. You got 10 days left here to qualify for this progressive prize pool. All you have to do is use my link to register. You'll be eligible for anything in the future. But right now they're giving away $60,000 USDT in the month of November. And that goes to all, basically the top 20 traders, okay? Really easy to qualify. I do think number one spot's going to be hard to hit. We got a pretty big trader here somewhere, but kudos to everyone else who's qualifying, and obviously you as well. Thanks again for your time. We'll see you in the next one. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.